Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff Lyons from Builterra, and I see that we have about 30 participants today, and thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Today's session, we're going to look at how to streamline your contract administration for municipal infrastructure projects. If you have any questions, you can use the chat window to ask me the question, and I can respond and answer that question. Okay, we do have a fair amount of content as usual to get through, and it'll really be a sort of a global overview of the Builterra product for tender preparation, some of the import-export functions we have for municipal projects, and of course, inspection and progress certification. So it's a nice overview if you have never seen the Builterra product. The agenda today, I mean, it's a little bit daunting. I think I probably wrote this thinking I wanted to cover every single thing. We'll try not to turn it into a training seminar as we only have a 1-hour session, but I will hit on most of these items. Again, if you have questions or if I'm going too fast, you can chat in the window and I can respond. Okay, so like I said, if you haven't seen the Builterra platform, we are really covering the workflow from design CAD all the way through to progress certification and as-builts. Most of my career I spent in design CAD. I see that most people use Excel or some other system for contract administration. Builterra is really the only one that covers every single workflow from preparing that bid all the way through to progress reporting and certification. We're going to cover and touch on most of these except for the design CAD bit today. The Builterra platform is basically, it looks like a map. This is just a quick overview of what it looks like, essentially, in some of the features. All the projects are listed and they're all housed online in the Microsoft Azure cloud. You can add any kind of custom detail to the project, just like a GIS for cost estimating uses and other search capabilities. The inspection portal using your mobile app or iPad that's connected can essentially do any kind of inspection. In this case, this is a utility inspection from Hydrovac. This is the best part about the Builterra product is every time you take a picture, it's geo-referenced and geolocated in the project area. The theming and the export to Esri shapefile is all available. As a viewer, you get access to all the photos in your own little Builterra photo map cloud. Okay, so you can view inspection photos no matter where somebody took them at any time. The tendering bit is what we're going to look at quite detailed today, and some of the progress inspection later on in the webinar. So the tendering portal is where all the tenders are being prepared. This is everything from your schedule unit prices to specifications and standard documents that are uploaded, drawings and reports, etc. So because this is a municipal webinar, we're going to look at how this can help somebody who works for the city or the town or the region, the consultants who work with them. We're going to cover all the bases on this session today. Okay, so there's just the view of the tender editing, etc. So we'll get into that in a second. Okay, so our first stop is the tender portal. And Builterra is one product. The tendering and the inspection is all part of the same portal. In other words, you're going to, or sort of the same product, I should say. In other words, you're buying access to the product. In other words, you'll have a manage account, or you'll have a compose account, or a view account. So it's not like you're buying add-ons. You're essentially buying a platform. Standardizing the municipal catalog. So what we're going to do is take a quick look at something we had done for the City of Ottawa. This is public items available. The City of Ottawa had been using a system. It was very organized right from the start. I'm not sure if your system is as organized as theirs was, but they were using very unique item codes, specification codes, and the description of the items. So pushing it into Builterra was pretty straightforward. In other words, one file format into our system. We'll take a look at that. So this is what we had done over the last few weeks, is essentially imported all of those items. The units are there. We streamlined the search and add to tender piece, and I'll live demo that in a second. So this is what we can do for any municipality, city, or town, is standardizing all these items if you already have something in place. This is just the view into the template system. The concept from templates is the idea that you could have everything in your catalog, but maybe you want a shortcut to, in this case, asphaltic overlay dual section. This is just one of the templates that the city had got us to prepare. This means that a project manager can pick a template and then immediately start adding items. You can also build it from scratch. You can do a rapid entry template. We'll take a quick look at that. The idea is that the user, no matter who they are, has direct access to the tender sections. The catalog items are shown below for each section. So in this case, sidewalk and boulevards displays the sidewalk and boulevards items in the catalog down to the lower left. They can then drag and drop the items directly into the schedule unit prices or the pay items list. This is essentially the product. In other words, Builterra tender preparation is as simple as that. The live demo. So what we'll do is we'll I'll show you how a tender is created. And let me just get to the website here. So this is the main portal here. When we log in, I am using the Ottawa one only because it's fairly typical of a municipality. When you go to projects, essentially where all of the projects are geolocated. So this is in case you want to start using a location variable in cost estimating. So if you're a large city or a large region, you want to compare prices with only local projects, maybe urban versus rural, things like that. So if we were to pick we'll just go to Webcast 4. This is a typical project location here, somewhere in Oshawa, it looks like. So if we want to create a tender for this, we can go to the tender portal here on this button, or all the way up to here. So let's go ahead and make a new tender for this project. So when we pick the project, we can pick a manager. This is where we get to pick what kind of tender this is. So this is a full-blown tender that is going to go out for bidding, active. If it's old pricing, you want to do historical. Cost estimate is for somebody without the full access to the system to create bids. And CCMS we'll go into in a second. So this is the import system from another popular system that's used in the market. So if we're doing an active tender, so the tender number, we'll do a T18, roads and sewer, something like this. So because it's active, the closing date is in the future. And we can pick any one of these items here. So if we were to pick, say, asphaltic overlay, there it is. We could pick that. The rapid entry means we can just do whatever we want to do. We can type it in from anything. So if I did a rapid entry template, it's going to create essentially a blank section group and table here. Very simplistic. And what's good about that is I can make it whatever I want to make it. So if I said section table, the name of this section table could just be as simple as, these are our roadway or something like this, okay? save it. And the section group could be called, this is roads and sewer, like this. I mean, you don't really need a group in this case, but we'll do that. Okay. So when we have roadway items, this could be, maybe a street name or something. So the idea is you can pick from the entire catalog. So if I go ahead and pick from the entire catalog, there it is. So it's getting the catalog system right now. And we can then start searching for items. So if I go to here, we can pick specifically from that city, and then I can start typing in whatever I want. So if you're doing, say, traffic like this, it'll look for all of the traffic items in the system. There's lots of traffic items, right? So when we're grabbing this item in here like this, it's a lump sum item, so it should have defaulted to 1 there. And this cost estimating is coming from previous traffic control plans. If we're looking at a traffic maintenance hole, for example, and we're pushing it in like this, this is an each item, so we can say there's 44 of those, right? And again, if there was a price, it would have already come up with that cost estimate. Okay, so maybe we'll get rid of that one. And maybe we'll look for example, they always have police. So it's not just about items that are in a CAD drawing or a design. I can spell that right. This is anything to do with the project. So this is how many hours of police presence, so 45 hours, okay? And again, it's $129 an hour. So the details for that is under, it will show every project that's ever touched this particular item number. So if you're going to go ahead and start filling in these items, you can make a copy of this, for example, right here, make a copy, and you can call this one something like, sewer, like this, and save it off. And same idea, you can grab the search item, and you can type in, say sewer like this. And any sewer items will immediately come up in the list. So this is a big benefit for people who are using our system. It's just like a real nice quick database that you can start adding items to. So I'll just clear off those police items. We don't need those anymore. And drag it in, put in the length of sewer, and save it off. And if there's if there's a price for that, it would have come up there instantaneously. Okay, so if we look at what's been done in the past, we did one this morning. So this is an active tender. And this would be James Street, roads and sewers. So this is a single table with some items in it, with some quantities and a cost estimate right there, $1.9 million, right? If you were to want to produce an Excel spreadsheet from that, you would download the cost sheet, or you can click on that link and it'll actually give you the spreadsheet with all of the pricing already set. And here it just came up in my other window. So just like that, we have James Street category because you know all your different streets and all the items for that. And this is what we call the cost estimates, already filled in. If it was going to a bidder, it would be empty. And then they would, again, type those prices in, and you would use that in your future cost estimating. So that's the system entry there. Just do a little time check here, 12:17, so we're still good. The system also has the ability to attach documents. These would be specification documents to the catalog. In this case, an OPSD, manhole, very typical. Any PDF you want, you can attach to the standard catalog. You can attach Word documents, meaning the text in the Word document. So we have a rich text editor, allows you to write your own specifications, import OPS specifications, and eventually, if these are attached to individual items, they'll be output for your active tender. So we do have a full system for that. So this is where you would add the spec, the written spec, to each item right there. So all centralized, all standardized using the Builterra system. There's a good example of an OPS that was cut and pasted into the spec number for a curb. The user-defined PDF attachments in a tender means that you can attach reports, geotech reports or environmental reports, anything. You can also attach drawings, essentially any PDF that you want the bidder to have for the bidding process. Keep in mind that if you're a municipality, you want to be able to give the procurement people these same documents. So design and construction can come up with their own package using Builterra, and then literally just give them a spreadsheet with all the schedule unit prices in it that's blank and all the attached documents, specifications. Okay, so this is our test entry that we did this morning. And so it had some OPS documents attached. It had some standard drawings that were attached. This would be the schedule unit prices that the bidder would have, and it's password protected and encoded with the bid unique identifier into it. The unit price and comments, the yellow fields, are the only fields the bidder can type into. Okay, so if you're using our system for bidding, this is what you would do. The package can be a zip file that contains the drawings, the standard documents, of course the schedule unit prices spreadsheet, and any written specifications that you had added to the items we put into a Word doc. So this package would go directly to procurement. Okay, so part of the reason why we wanted to do this session is because we wanted to talk about eSolutions bids and tenders. This means that if you're not using our system for the procurement process, in fact, a lot of land development firms will use our stuff for that because it's very email driven. But bids and tenders is from the eSolutions group. It's the most popular e-bidding site in Ontario. And we wanted to make sure our system is integrated. So for us, it meant that we could prepare a standard schedule unit prices and the attached documents, provide that to procurement at the municipality. They can do their thing with bids and tenders. In other words, that's happening now, and it works great. We have a unique hidden field that their system can use to make sure that when the data comes back into our system, we can then use it for field inspection and progress payment. So there is a very nice flow of data now through the system. So the only trick here is you have to use what we call a simple Excel file compatible bids and tenders import file. In other words, something that's been flattened. The flattened file, you just pick template of simple here. So you don't get tabs in your spreadsheet or grouping and enumeration, all of that. That disappears. This is a very simplistic flat file right there. And when you export it, this is what you get then. You get the category name, which is really the section group name, all of the items, the quantity, and of course the price is 0. Procurement will then take this spreadsheet and do what they do. They'll go ahead and import it into the bids and tenders software, and online bidding can occur. The bids that come back will have pricing in them. So if you have 3 bids coming back, you can use our system to check it back in using the hidden key fields column. Okay, so when design and construction receives those files from procurement, they'll add the bidder name, and maybe it's just the awarded bid. Maybe they don't want to know what the other prices were. In any case, you can add 3 bidders and then submit them manually. And this is where our system gets used again by design and construction. All of the pricing from every bidder is used in the cost estimating system. Okay, so then you'll see, 3 bids show up here, as well as a cost estimate that's not shown in the screen. You can do a comparison. Bids and Tenders does a similar processing as well. But if the design and construction project manager wanted to compare bids, they could do that. The downloads all bids link there will produce a spreadsheet that is used to, basically exactly what you're doing today around comparisons. You can look into each street and each item right down to the individual item level there. So you can see what the comparisons are and who's the high, who's the low, etc. Okay. So once you have those in there, all of the pricing goes into the database for cost estimating. CCMS system. Just do a quick time check. We're doing well. And CCMS from Bid and Go is an older system that's we've been requested to be compatible with. So in other words, they produce an XML file, and we'll show how that works. Essentially, the bid comes in, and when you go to create a tender, we have the import CCMS beta here, and you simply just select the file. In most cases, this is because people they already use CCMS to do the bid, and they want to go to the field inspection. So this is the biggest benefit here, is we can suck in the CCMS awarded tender and go straight to field progress inspection. If you're using CCMS and you want to continue on with our bidding system, then you can build items, expand the imported tender, and then export to the eSolutions format. So there's lots of options once it's in our system. Okay, so you'll get if you were to use our system, you'd have a nice looking awarded tender here, historic in other words, and it would go to the awarded screen once you awarded it to yourself and ready for a field inspection. So this is the idea, is you would push in the XML file, getting it ready for the field. The live demo, so what's happening is we built a system. So if I was to go here and create a new tender for Webcast 4, if I click on Create Tender here, you can go ahead and pick, say, Webcast 4. The project manager is here. So instead of an active historical, you'd pick this one here. And it's fairly simple. It's typically you would put it in the past, maybe you'd find it when it closed, and then you would select. So this is a standard XML file from the CCMS system. And what's happening is it brings it in and literally just awards it to yourself. So this doesn't look as good as, say, if you made it in Builterra, but it gets exactly the items you need. You can take a look at that here. So when you look at all these things here, these are straight from CCMS. So that only took a fraction of a second to import this tender, and with the awarded pricing right there, right to the penny. So this particular tender, if I go back to the start here, this is ready for inspection, and we'll get back to this in a second. Right, so that'll go straight to the phones or the iPads for progress inspection. Very easy to do. So if you've got a job starting next week and you're using CCMS, you can use our system today. If you're looking to import from the city, So we did a webcast 2 weeks ago that went into great detail around this piece. So I won't go into great detail today. And essentially, this would be a City of Toronto project, or say a City of Waterloo project. Any city that produces a schedule unit prices is, you can use Builterra to do the progress payment certificates. So this would be a typical spreadsheet from the city. If you can make a CSV file from this, exporting the Excel to CSV, getting rid of the columns you don't need, you can then use the import feature, and some of these sections here you can create yourself just to keep things organized. But basically it's a blank table that you're just going to import the item code and description and probably the bidder name. So again, we went into some detail 2 weeks ago, and if you want, you can go to that webcast and view it. So this is where you can import a job. Could be from the city of Barrie. Any city produces these schedule unit prices, and you can have it imported directly. So the pricing comes in. Okay. You want to check the pricing here. In other words, you would export to Excel, give it a double check. Very important that you check these prices, because if you're doing payment certificates, you don't want to be looking for dollars that are missing, 3 months from now. So you'll check the pricing with the original spreadsheet, and they should be the same to the penny. If they're not, then maybe they made a mistake in the original spreadsheet. Should be exactly the same. And again, you would award that city contract to yourself, or you can put the bidder name in there. This would be good for cost estimating to know who exactly did price it. Okay, and then now it's available on the mobile device. The inspection portal is the next piece of this presentation. So I see I'm on time, it's 12:30. I want it to be about halfway done. So the first part of the presentation, we talked about the tendering piece. The second part of Builterra is the inspection piece. So it's just as important as part of the full feature of the product. So of course, every mobile app in the world, you can take pictures, you can geolocate pictures, collect data. We can do the same thing with the Builterra mobile app. What you can't do with other apps is dial into the awarded tender. So the municipal tender is where we pull away from the competition. We can connect to not just adding data and collecting pictures, but we can actually start picking from these awarded schedule unit prices for quantity progress tracking. The inspection form, a daily inspection form, this is just a sample. This is what you'd want to set up for your city or town or consulting business. Essentially, the consultant can create a daily inspection form. These tables can be anything that you want them to be. It's just like tabs in a spreadsheet. So you can labor and equipment, materials. It's the contract items here that dial into the tender itself. Okay, and we'll show that in a second. You can come up with what we call templates to preload a lot of this labor and equipment and visitors on site. So there's a whole thing around this inspection form configuration, and we'll do a webcast in a few weeks to talk about that. On the iPad, one of the huge benefits of the Builterra app is it was built to be available not just to the individual inspector, but to a team of inspectors. So if you're doing road resurfacing or some kind of road jobs, and it's a single contract in the city, you want to be able to give the app to anybody using a phone or a connected iPad, and they want to be able to participate on a single daily report. So they want to be able to add their own information to the daily report. They could have their own daily report, but then draw from the same contract. So basically, it's a collaborative system that lets all the inspectors add material volumes to the same daily or the same contract during the day. The labor and equipment, like I said, you can add them individually or you can add them from a template. So if it's a different crew for each day, it basically prefabs what you're going to add. So you'll get all your weather, your temperatures, your crews, your labor, equipment very quickly. Okay, so then when you submit it, it's like a little text message back up to the website. It will log that as the equipment and labor for the day. So here's where you can actually drill into the awarded tender. So as you're picking through the tender, here we go. And there it is there. So essentially it's coming up with the total that's in the awarded contract and then how much has been built to date. So 75 meters of this PVC was built to date. Then you can go ahead and add more quantity. So that, you know, during the day, in other words, you're not doing this at the end of the day. You can do it while it's happening. You can take field notes. You can put in the station and offset, the street name, location, any details can be collected, including photos. And all of that information goes to the daily report. This is just the prefab view of the daily report on the device. Excuse me. And so basically you've got all of the stuff in real time sending back to the website, to the Builterra website. So let me see if I can share my phone. What I want to do is show you how the website looks after remember we just imported that CCMS template. So let's go to the website and take a look at that. Okay, so there's the awarded template that we had, CCMS was brought in. So if I want to start doing inspection on these items, let me go ahead and show my phone. And we got a little squiggly face here because my phone went off. And let me just see if I can reconnect that. Okay. Yeah, there we go. And sorry about that. We're just having a little trouble syncing. We'll just go back to the apps here. It's called Visor. It's a great little app to do things. Okay, there's my phone. Select. Okay. And it's a free app that you can download. It'll show me an ad in a few seconds here, but we can get through that. So basically, you can put in whatever you want. And let me just get rid of this for now. Okay, so the Builterra app, you can have daily report, you can have quick photo, you can take pictures of anything, could be extra work items, whatever you need it to be. There's some settings here. There's say show the map, that might be interesting to do, you know, different things like this. So this is all happening on the inspector's phone. So they'll go ahead and pick, say, Webcast 4. The new parent inspection form is like the open report. And you can do that and you can type in, you know, it's the February 9th. Okay, and we'll call it the daily progress report. Okay, and the map, this is where the report is being taken. So that's where I'm sitting right now here in Oshawa. You can kind of move that around. The details. So this is if you're wanting to do some kind of a street name, particular daily. You can do this. You can type in whatever the contractor is, the subcontractor if there was one, the report number. So it's number 1. Basically, if it was a working day, not working day. So there's all of this that's typical of a daily report. Okay. And this is all custom to or configurable to you as a company. This is not something that we come up with and you have to use. This would be your own particular items for the daily. So what happens is you create this open inspection, and now you can go ahead and add whatever you want to that. So if I said, well, let's go to the templates, it's an excavation crew right there, and looking good. We'll just submit. So right away, I've just submitted all of my excavation crew. If I want, I can go and do some measurements on site, remarks. I can add some remarks here, say whatever the remarks are, okay. Take some photos from the gallery or sketch, no problem. And again, these are just throughout the day, you'll be submitting these, okay. When you go to the contract items, right there, you'll be literally picking from the awarded contract. So when it says tender, this is the CCMS tender that we just imported from that XML file. So when I go down to water main, I can go through all of the individual items here. And that's the full description, by the way, in these things, right? So I can say, well, they did 20 millimeter water services, right? So there's 30 in the contract and built 0. So when I pick it, I'll say, well, they did, you know, say 8 of them today, right? And you can put in some field notes, say it's at station, you know, 109 point whatever. Just some kind of a spelling mistake there, but you can take pictures and do extra details, you know, again, and then just submit like this. So when you submit, it's all happening in real time. So everybody in the office can see these now. And so you can pick through, and this is on my Android phone, by the way, hydrant sets, 7 of those. So you say, well, they did some hydrants today. They did 3. Okay. So when you submit all these quantities, it's happening in the daily, right? You can go ahead and view the PDF report, and this will generate if you have a city standard, like a city looking template, it'll produce it. Otherwise, it'll just be this generic one, and it'll pull in all the information here, right? Including labor and equipment, the location, everything. So back on the website, right here, you've got this awarded tender. So if I was to simply just reselect that, see what's happening now is you're getting this in real time during the webcast right now. In other words, we put in some services, we did some hydrants. So this is all happening in real time. This is the best thing you could want as a project manager, is to see all of this stuff happening. If you go to the inspection portal for inspections, if I had taken some pictures, they would have shown up here. The daily report for Church Street, there's my February 9th report. It zooms to where I'm sitting here in Oshawa on Boundary Road. And then all of the labor, equipment, the visitors on site, any materials and tests, and there's your contract items right there. Okay, any photos would have come up. So you can produce a daily report just by hitting the Excel button. You can click on the main daily report, and you can download all of your daily reports for that week or that month and put them on your server. You can go into the individual daily, and you can do approvals. So this would be if you want to sit in your car, maybe edit the inspections from the mobile device. Say you want to do some more remarks here. You didn't like that spelling mistake. You can say, you know, water services are in okay or something like this. Save it off. And basically you can edit the information, add photos manually, and then once you like it, you can mark as reviewed. Okay. You can send it to an external contractor to request review here, or a supervisor can review it here. So essentially this is the editor, and when you go back to the inspections now, the icon for this daily report will change. In other words, once the inspection's been reviewed, it will go orange. When it's fully reviewed, it'll go green. All right. Back in the tender portal, and we'll just go back to our imported item here. There it is there. When you want to do a progress certificate, it really is just as simple as hitting a plus symbol here. So when you go and say it's the February 2018 PC, and so you can say it's from the 1st of February to the 28th, right there, and say create. So what it does is it rolls up all of the inspection data over that period. And you can have all your PCs in one portal. So when you select it here, see how it's saying number of inspections too. So these are the actual items that it inspected. Okay, payable this period, things like this. There's a holdback system. You can drill into the item itself, say the hydrant sets right there. It tells you what the data is for that. You can go to the details. It'll show that this inspector inspected it a few minutes ago with the cost. Okay, if you think that number is a little bit weird, you can go to view the inspection right from there, and you can change that item here. If you're a tender manager, by the way, you have to have rights to do that. And back in the PC screen, essentially, if you're happy with everything, you can hit the Excel button and produce a payment certificate. So it really is that easy. As far as a training program, I mean, yeah, there's lots of details, but you can do all of this with very little learning curve, right? There's a PC right there with your water main items, okay? And so just like what you'd normally do manually. And just like that, you can have 10 inspectors out there doing their job, and it's all happening in real time. Okay, so if we slip back to the web, that was a pretty big web demo there, by the way. You can add items using the website. You don't have to use your phone. Most people use their phone or an iPad. We talked about the daily progress. There's an actual portal showing a lot of daily reports, okay, and a lot of real information. If it's red, it means it's fully approved and locked from the devices. And there's pictures. So what you want to be able to do is produce a daily report at the end of the day for the city project manager, or if you're from the city, for your own project managers. This is a City of Toronto customized daily report. We do all kinds of different custom daily reports for people. The photos get attached and captioned immediately. There's no work here, by the way. It just happens as soon as you're done the day. As soon as the equipment is turned off, you're ready to go home. The weekly, this is a metadata report that consultants will pay us to put together. So we do a lot of custom reports for people once the database has been working. Okay. The approval process, like I just showed you, this would be a digital approval here. You could have people sign the screen and you'd have a signature shown there. But generally, this is good enough for people with unique logins. The payment certificate bit, again, we showed this bit where you're getting progress throughout the day, throughout the week. You're making PCs and generating Excel-based progress certificates. This is the number one reason why people are buying Builterra, is to go from a current requirement, like a current project next week. They want to do progress reporting. And there's a good example there. If you have any questions, we're right on time. It's 10 to 1. And you can, I'm going to open up the floor. If you have any questions, unmuted everybody. If you don't want to speak up, if you want to put in the chat window, I can answer some questions as well. And I see we're up to 45 people on the call. And that's great. We're getting a lot of interest in this product over the last couple months. And we take care of all of the implementation for people. We can execute very quickly on getting this system up and running for projects starting this spring.
What's the pricing on this software?
What does the cost structure of the Builterra look like? Okay. The cost structure right now is basically, let me just put that on the screen for you. I should have had that from before. It's very easy to buy. It's, let me just grab that right now. And sorry about that. So this is the pricing here. Viewing, if you're part of the system, if you're just a project manager and you want to do a quick cost estimate, like a one-off cost estimate, you can do that through the ad hoc cost estimator. Viewing photos on the photo map feature, it's all free. Downloading reports, free. If you're composing, in other words, creating data, you have to, it's a $500, $495 a year. So it's only $40 a month for each, say, inspector or somebody doing tenders. If you're actually managing the system or doing progress certificates, it's $995 a year. Okay? And so $80 a month approximately. We don't sell it by the month, but what we're saying is if we can save you 1 hour a month, then you're making money or saving time with this system. We made it so people wouldn't be obstructed by the price. It is a subscription product. It's basically an hour billable a month if you want to compose data or manage it. Is the City of Ottawa currently using Builterra? No, we're delivering this month to the city, and they are going to pilot the system probably this spring for tender preparation. Can you connect through the back end of the financial system or infrastructure asset tracking system? Right now, you can export data to CSV formats, Excel. If you have a specific need, we can export data to any format you need. Maybe like a viewpoint system or some other ERP system. As long as they can import data, we can export it.
Jeff? Hello, Jeff? Hello?
And if you're doing any kind of CAD work, we have a huge extension for Civil 3D. It allows you to do automatic tender preparation through object-based modeling and things like that. So if you're doing any kind of design with Civil 3D or AutoCAD, we have a great system that sucks data in and produces a tender. About 40 or 50% of your tender can be created right from the AutoCAD model. So that was another question I just had. If you would like to know more or get an on-site demo or anything like that, you can call Brock Smith or myself. Brock is our sales manager, and I'm the director of platform innovation. We're open to coming on site and doing a demo with your inspection group, your tendering group, or your design group. Will there be a redline capability for PDF or Bluebeam? So what's happening is we were thinking about doing a BIM 360. Actually, it's in the works, connectivity. So BIM 360 is an Autodesk product. It's essentially built for your iPads and phones. And we are going to be connecting with Autodesk 360, the BIM 360 product. As far as Bluebeam, it's possible, but it's not on the roadmap for this spring. BIM 360 Docs is on the roadmap to connect with. So we're already partnered up with Autodesk on that.
directly to bids and tenders without it exporting to Excel. I don't like that extra step if we don't need it. Like CCMS is direct. There's no...
No, it's not.
Do you have to export it out?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Okay,
that.
well, I guess that if there's no more questions, then make sure you give me an email or call me anytime, and we can come on site and show you what we've got here at Builterra.
Or will this be?
And thank you for your time.
Two O's.